Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we are solving another event planning nightmare. Have you ever been to an event where there was a centerpiece malfunction? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. If you see me looking up here, I'm looking at Instagram. If you see me looking down here, I'm looking at YouTube. So come on in and grab the popcorn. Today's event planning nightmare is don't add fish to your centerpiece until you hear this. My name is Melody Dixon. I'm the CEO and founder of Pro Event Planners, curators of eco-focused events. I plan events for people who are steeped in all things sustainability. And it's in their business, it's in their life, it's also in their events. So since I'm an eco-focused event planner, they call me and I support them with that. Make sure that we choose an energy efficient building, that there is no single-use plastic containers, and minimal paper waste, or if any. I also support people who have no idea about sustainability, but they're curious. They know that maybe how they've been living or how they've been running their business, there's some wasting involved, and they want to cut that out because now they're being awakened to what that means for resources if you're wasting it. So I take their hand and hold it and take them through the steps of little eco-focused things that they can do. And over time, when compounded, it makes a positive impact on the planet. Now, what's sustainability? It is meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. For me, I like to explain it like God is big and expansive. And because of that, we're from Him and we are that way too. We like to build things, create, even as a kid, oh gosh, our imagination was so expansive. We could see ourselves building castles and saving people and flying and all these different things as little children. As adults, maybe the abilities may change somewhat, the imagination may change somewhat, but we now think of creating a business or inventing something or making art. So we're very expansive ourselves, but we get to do so intentionally so that we could still have use of those resources, or kids can, or kids' kids, and people 10 generations deep can have access. All right, now there are three pillars to sustainability. The first pillar is the environment. We get to reduce what we're already using, reuse what we have, and recycle. I like to squeeze in a fourth, and that's upcycle. So we transform something that we already have, whether it's old or worn out, or you're tired of wearing it, or tired of seeing it, or tired of using it. You can get creative and transform it into something else and give it new life and new usage, new purpose. All of that was number one, environment. Number two is economics. If you're being eco-focused and sustainable, then you also get to make money or save money over time. Yes, you're going to spend money to buy the things that make your life and your business eco-focused, but you also will save money over time. Let's say we take LED lights, for example. If you have to change all the light bulbs in your house to something LED, then it's going to cost you. But over time, you'll see your light bill is less. So that's a positive. The third is social responsibility. We get to take care of each other and love our neighbors as we love ourselves. So everyone gets a place to live, food to eat, clothes to wear, health care, a means of managing their financial responsibilities, getting a job, or they can start a business, things like that. And then they're free to just be who they are and express themselves. You know, you get to love each other. Now, today's nightmare is fish in a centerpiece. Coming closer, let me share this to you. There was a time when I was doing a beach wedding and all the fish died in the centerpiece. Let me tell you, it was a drama and a half. So let me give you the backstory. So this bride saw me online and reached out and wanted me to help her with partial coordination. And she found the venue. It was a hotel on, I want to say it was Pompano Beach, right on the sand. And she was going to have the ceremony on the sand and cocktails on the outdoor patio and the reception in the ballroom. So partial, she's done some things. She's hired her photo booth person, she's hired her DJ because it was I guess an interracial wedding. So the groom was East Indian and the bride was Anglo American. And so they were bringing the two families together. So they wanted to make sure that the right DJ was there. And, they were, the groom had his own DJ person that would play in the way that his family is used to. So that was fine. And so the bride and I was only left with doing the decoration and making sure the beach was set up okay, got the people down the aisle and make sure everything was set up, place cards, um, uh, gifts, all the things were set up. That was my job. So we signed the contract, we're ready to go. And she's like, okay, great. I love what you have so far. I want to incorporate a fish in the centerpiece. So Uh, those who know me know that I absolutely love nature, love the environment. I am a renowned tree hugger. I have a garden, I plant things, I love animals, all the things. So when she said fish in centerpiece, I paused and I listened to make sure I understood what her vision was. She wanted to have a tall cylinder on the table with some tropical, I think it's birds of paradise. Those are the tall green uh, plants with the orange blossom that's not really flower like. It looks more like an extension of the stem, but it's nice, bright orange and yellow. It's vibrant, it's beautiful, it's tropical. I get it. So I listened to what she had to say. I said, okay, let me put some ideas together because even though she told me her ideas, my intuition said, no, I know plants. When you cut the plant, there's fluid that leaks out. And sometimes the viscosity of the fluid, you can see it different than the water. You can see the area around the plant is a different thickness, a different consistency than what the water is. So I know the plant leaks some fluid once you cut it, especially if it's a plant that you can tell, like when you cut it and you squeeze it, there's liquid coming out naturally because it soaks up a lot of water. I crafted an email and I have the visuals to show you. So I gave her, let's make sure Instagram can see. I gave her this setup. Great. So I'm visible on both screens. I gave her this setup. The vase I used was a little bit cylindrical all the way, not with an indentation in the side. And the fish bowl was a little bit lower. So this is what I have now because that was years ago. I said to her, if you want the fish in the bowl, there are two ways you can do it. You can have the plant at the top, like that, and the fish in the bowl here. Because when you cut the plant, the fluid leaks out and it may kill the fish. Because normally fish is in water that's moving. If it's in a fish tank or a pond or a stream or a river or a creek, there's water all the time. So if one of the plants get bruised or if a couple of them get bruised and they leak fluid, the current is moving the current is moving the liquid from the plant away. If you're in this fish bowl with no running water, then the fish may swim into the pool of liquid coming from the plant and it can hurt them. So number one, you get the fish bowl and the fish is in this part and then the plant is in the top. Or you can bend the plant like that and stick the plant in the bowl so it looks like this, and then the fish is swimming in the tall cylinder. It's visually attractive. It's going to pull the guest's eye to look at the centerpiece. Every time they see the fish move, their eyes will be looking at the centerpiece. So those are the two safest ways to have the fish in the centerpiece. If you intend to use a plant that the fish can be around, I'd say keep the roots on the plant. Like if you use an Asian bamboo plant, fish swim around those. You just have to trim the roots to make sure that it's not a web and that the fish won't be tangled in it. You can even use the pothos behind me, these right here. Just make sure the roots are trimmed down so that the fish have room to swim and that the plant itself isn't bruised. It's just the whole plant with the root. The root contains all the juice, the plant isn't bruised, there's nothing leaking out, and the fish can swim freely, right? So those are the two ways. I sent it to her in an email and with diagrams and clear explanations, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and so on. She didn't like my idea, and so she decided to hire a florist to take care of the fish in the centerpiece for her. I'm like, are you sure? Hey, Mary. Thanks for joining me, beautiful. Today, we're doing how to solve an event planning nightmare like a pro, and we're talking about the fish in the centerpiece. So I told the client there's 2 ways to do it. She can do the flowers in the fishbowl part of the centerpiece. Just wrap the flower around the bowl and then put the fish in the top in a taller vase. And so you can see the fish swim and then you can see the flowers. And the fish isn't in any danger from the liquids leaking from the flowers. Or option number 2, option number 2, you can put the fish in the fishbowl part and then you can put the plant like that. So if she, wants to see the fish, it's in the fishbowl, it's separated, it's safe, and she can see the tropical plant, it's lovely and beautiful. Well, this particular client didn't want that. And I told her even if she wanted to have a plant in with the fish, it cannot be cut. It has to have the roots. Like an Asian bamboo plant, that's a good one. You just trim the roots short so that the fish doesn't get tangled up in the roots. Or you can use the pothos. That's the plant that I have hanging there. They're so easy to grow. They thrive in water, but they can have really tangled, long roots. So you cut them before so that the roots are short and the fish can swim and do their thing without being harmed, right? So I sent the client an email. I gave her the diagrams of the possibilities and I did the step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. She didn't like that, so she hired a florist. So I'm like, okay, are you sure? She's like, yes, that's what I want. I want what I want. And this lady was an attorney and she can express herself very well because, she has to argue in court and all that. And it's also probably a part of her personality. She's like, this is what I want. I've had this. Mary says, I love your demonstration. Thank you, Mary. She's like, this is what I want. I've had this vision for a long time. I've always wanted to see fish. And this, I don't want it the way you're saying. I want it the way I want it. It pained me in my spirit, but she said she's already hired a florist, and I don't have to worry about the centerpieces. She'll take care of it. She didn't confirm to me that she was still going with the fish. So I'm on the way to the event because now I have less work to do because she's hired out that part. So I'm on my way to the event. I think it was like 3 o'clock, and I think the ceremony started at 4 or 5, and there was nothing for me to do except get the people down the aisle and last minute touches. Really light, more like day of coordination than partial planning. So when I'm on the way close to the hotel, I get a call from the florist, and she said, the bride gave me your number, and I just want you to know that my team is in the ballroom. They're putting the centerpieces together. And I'm like, first of all, it's pretty much close to the start time. Why are they just putting the centerpieces together? But I'm like, okay, just wait till you get there. Don't ask any questions yet. Just wait till you get there to see what they have. She said, all the fish died that we put in the centerpiece. We had to remove them, remake the centerpiece, and I'm on my way to the pet store to get more. I'm like, that's exactly what I didn't want to happen, for the fish to die. So in my spirit, my heart just really sank. I'm like, they're living. We got to take care of them or do it the right way if you must have fish. The florist didn't care. She was like, I'm paid to do the centerpieces with the fishes. The fish, I'm just going to get round 2 of fish and be on my way. So I got to the hotel. I saw them doing what they were doing. I went over, I looked. I'm like, okay. I said, do you need any support with that? They're like, nope, we got it. I'm like, okay. So I did what I was supposed to do. I made sure everyone got down the aisle, cocktails and everything. And by the time they're halfway through the ceremony, I came up to check on what they were doing. Some of the fish started to die in the centerpieces again. So I didn't travel with a ladle spoon. I had to convince the banquet staff, please get me a pot and a ladle so I can scoop out the dead fish and maybe take some from the ones that were not dying, but almost, because you could see the fish, they were trying to swim and then they stopped and kind of turned a little bit. I'm like, oh God. My heart is sinking every time I see the fish. At the end, during the cocktail hour, I whispered to the bride, some of the fish have died and we've removed them. Do you want me to remove all the fish from all the centerpieces before everyone gets in the ballroom? She's like, no, I want it. So I'm like, okay. So ceremonies, cocktails done. They're coming into the ballroom. Bride has sat down and people are mingling around. They haven't really started yet. Their program was, she wanted it done a little differently with mingling time while everyone is being seated. She sat down and then the fish on her table started to die. So she called me over and she's like, Melody, the fish is dying. Get them from all the tables. So now all the guests are seated. Now we're having to go to each table that still had a fish and remove the centerpiece in the middle of the thing. But it's her wedding. I gave her my best professional advice and she didn't listen. So now we're I guess scrambling to, I don't know if you could use the word discreetly, but nonchalantly saunter over to the table and remove the centerpiece and say, we'll be right back. And take it to the room next door, take out the fish, put it in a container, and toss the fish that were dead. Bring it back to the table. Now, at the end of the event, when I do a post-event consultation, more like a follow-up with the bride and the groom. How was our service? How was the event? She was highly, upset that the fish started to die in the centerpiece. And my team didn't work fast enough. I'm like, you hired me for pretty much day of coordination. It was myself and one other person for a small wedding. And the decoration part you didn't need anymore because you hired someone to do that. So we honored our part of the contract. And well, the fish died. I'm like, okay. I circled back to the lengthy email that I gave her that had option 1, flower in the top. Option 2, flower in the bottom. And I explained it in detail over the phone and in email, and you decided not to honor my professional opinion. So yes, the fish did die, but we also jumped in and did the best we could to recoup the, I guess, trauma from people, including some kids, seeing the fish die. In the end, she did give me a positive review online. I think it was the Knot or Google, I'm not sure. Not the Knot, Wedding Wire. She gave me a great review on Wedding Wire, and she also gave me a referral. So, long story, but it was necessary. So, today I'm going to share with you 6 tips on how not to make your fish die in the centerpiece and the right way to do it. Okay, so tip number 1, decide if a fish in your centerpiece is a must. Will your world end? Will your vision for your wedding be not realized if you don't have the fish in the centerpiece? If you want an aquatic theme, if you want a beach theme, if you want a tropical rainforest theme, and you want some kind of water situation happening, that's totally doable without the fish. But if you must have the fish, decide and be clear on what the possibilities may be. Number 2, learn and use the safest way to do so. Referring back to my example, using a setup like this. Or if you're using a plant that has the root already attached, trim the roots a good 2 days or so before to make sure that when you cut the roots, there's no fluid leaking out of that as well. Keep it in water so that it heals, and there's within a day or two, all the fluid should stop leaking out of whatever is trimmed from the roots. And make sure the roots are short so that the fish can freely and safely swim around. All right. Number 3, use small fish like betta. They're little, almost royal blue, violet fish with there's a small, slim body, but a big, flourishing tail. They're very aggressive fish, so you never ever put 2 of those together because they kind of puff up and like fight each other to the death. Or you can use goldfish, whether it's the basic goldfish with the 1 tail or the one with the 4 tails, the small ones, maybe like 2 joints on your finger. That should be the largest to get the effect. But small fish. Number 4, feed the fish before the event, because if they've been transported, Mary says, great tips. Thank you, my love. If you feed the fish before, that kind of calms them down because they're going from one container to another, and it's a glass bowl and they're seeing plants. The extra movement can get them agitated and anxious. So you want to make the centerpieces early, like at the start of the event, not start of the event, start of the setup time, so that the fish has a few hours to be in that container and get calm. So you feed them, they're swimming around, they're getting used to their environment. Okay, that's number 4. Number 5, at the end of the event, you want to pack them safely in a mason jar. And the reason why I say mason jar is they're so inexpensive. If you buy store-bought pasta sauce, that jar that it comes in is a mason jar. In most cases, some of them are really fancy, but whatever jar you use, instead of tossing the jar, you can rinse it out and reuse it. And that's an eco-focused way to manage that. At the end of the event, once let's say the party's done, everyone is packing up to leave, you can have your event staff remove the centerpieces and pour the fish in the same water that it's in the jar, maybe halfway full, and then you cover the jar. I would also ask you to put maybe a small envelope, like a little, like a business card size envelope, or even fold a piece of paper with some fish food in it that can last maybe 2 or 3 days, and tape it to the top of the jar so that it's more like a package. You're giving the person the fish already in water and already fed for that day. And on the top, there's fish food taped to the jar so that when they take it home, if they can't make it to the store the next day or the next day, at least the fish has food for like 3 days. After 3 days, I'm sure you can find, within the 3 days, you can find time to go to the store. So that's a good way to package it and make sure the fish is in a safe container, they're in water, their belly's full, and they have food. Okay. Number 6, once the fish is packed up and ready to go, you can give it to the attendees to take home. As maybe just like a parting gift, or if they have kids and the kids like the fish, take it home, and also include maybe a little card with instructions on how much to feed them and how often, and just some kind of basic care so that people aren't taking home the fish and they have no idea what to do and they may not have the time to Google it. So, jar, fish food, and a little card with just basic care information. If you don't give it to your guests as they're leaving, you can donate it to a local school, maybe a local daycare or pre-K, where kids will be fascinated with having a classroom pet, and the teacher will maybe make a lesson out of it, teach them how to care for fish and all that good stuff. And maybe the kid who is well behaved that day gets to feed the fish, make it interactive and fun. So the fish, yes, it did serve as a centerpiece, not my favorite thing, but if you must have it, it's a good way to manage that and make sure that there is care along the way. And it's done so in an eco-focused way and a safe way for both the fish and for people's mental health, because seeing a fish die, seeing anything die in front of you it's not fun. Like, I feel bad when my plants die, so those are the 6 tips. Now, managing all of that can be a lot. You're busy doing your life, you're busy being the bride and groom, or you're busy doing what it is your brand is doing. You don't have time to be managing types of fish and the logistics of the centerpiece and how to take care of the fish and get the food and package the food and get the little info card and how to attach it so it looks attractive, like a little package. That's what event planners do. And that's why I'm here to support you. In the link for Instagram, the link is in the bio. For YouTube, the link is in the description of this live. I can manage all of that for you. I have a package called the Pro Event Package. This is where you and I sit and talk about your wedding and your vision for the centerpiece of the fish, or your vision for your brand launch, or however you want to incorporate fish or not. I am there for it all. I'll listen to your ideas and provide my own and find ways to support you. I take that, I take your vision, I take how you want to feel when you walk into this space. I take the theme and I take your budget and I make it all happen. I do all the behind the scenes grunt work so that you don't have to. So that you can walk into space and look, wow, a beautiful tropical centerpiece with fish in the centerpiece that's it's eye catching, it's drawing your eye, it's out of the norm, all the things you want to see, but you didn't have to do any of the work. Also, if you know someone who's about to be going through an event process and they're not sure of the logistics, let's connect. My name is Melody Dixon, CEO and founder of Pro Event Planners, curators of eco-focused events. My email address is info@myproeventplanners. Now, for more on our services, visit our website as well, My Pro Event Planners. Thank you so much for joining. Mary, oh, Leah J. Hey, sweetie. Thanks for joining. Catch the replay, love. We are done for the day. We were talking about how to solve an event planning nightmare like a pro. And this was about using a fish in Centerpiece. It was a drama and a half, the story that I shared. All right. Share this with somebody who you think this can support and let me know if you have any questions. info@myproeventplanners.com. All right. Thank you so much for joining. Take care, and I will see you on the next one.